Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our first virtual business meeting of the concession for processes of the District Secretary for Mobility. For us, it's a pleasure to have you with us in this or as part of our audience in this space where we'll provide you information that you need in order to be part of this process that aims to modernize the service and the processes of the District Secretary for Mobility. We thank all the companies that have joined us and shown their interest. So far, we have more than 82 companies interested. We have companies in the US, in Mexico, in Brazil who are listening to this information that we are transmitting today. And of course, it will get to international and foreign audiences with an interpretation. It is important to point out that the information that we will present today to this audience is preliminary. This does not compromise the content of the final structuring of this project. The tender and all the structuring that is being made is process right now. So what we are telling you today is just informative so that you understand what this new process model is about. We inform that all the participants that we will also be answering your questions through the chat in our Facebook app and that we are also providing through this transmission. In the bottom, you can place your comments, and we will also take all the questions you might have through the email Negocios at Movilidad bogota.gov.co. We have a very important guest today who is the District Secretary for Mobility, Nicolas Estupiñán, and he will tell us what this is about, and he will invite all of those interested who are willing to transform the processes and the way how this is done in Bogota. Secretary, welcome. Andres, thank you very much, and thanks to all the people and companies that are with us today. Alejandra, good afternoon. The world changed. We have seen how the pandemic has forced all of us to have different considerations about a very specific topic, which is how we access to a number of services. The cities exist because in these urban centers there are opportunities and there are additional services provided. At the mobility office, we are willing to take this leap, and this is why we're doing this business meeting to invite you to work with us in this transformation, not only in the mobility office, but also to provide a better experience to all the users who are part of the mobility of Bogota. So we want to transform the processes that are made in the city, and so that we can then have different understanding, so that we can better benefit from all these experiences that we've learned in the pandemic. Right now, we have around 50 processes that are made through a project that helps the citizens, but all this for 53 processes that, well, when you accumulate them, you generate very important figures. Right now, we have more than 4,000 processes made through the different tools that the Secretary for Mobility has. We have around 120,000 of these processes per month, and so we want that all these processes become virtual. We want to transform the experience of all these processes for all the stakeholders and users of the mobility. This is a very bold uh, project. It is a process that we've been building for the last year. Yes, we started this structuring a year ago. And so we want to invite all the national and foreign stakeholders so that they work with us in this um, transformation of the experience for users who want to reduce this the time for these processes, because this is boring. It's cumbersome to have to be waiting in a queue and to be able to perform one of these processes. This is why we want to make a qualitative and quantitative leap in the way how we want to provide this service to all the citizens. Once again, I repeat, it's more than 4,000 processes made per day through the different projects and programs that the Secretary for Mobility has, and that's why we're making this invitation to all the local and foreign stakeholders so that they can work with us in this radical transformation of the experience for this process. We want to have a one-stop shop and reduce the number of people that come face to face to the office. We want to reduce by 60% the occupation or the face-to-face attendance to our offices, and we want to reduce by 50% the time that we dedicate to making these processes, and we want to virtualize all these processes made. So Alejandra will explain to us what is the process and the detailed invitation we want to make to you, and we want you to be with us in this business meeting. This is just the start of it so that we can count on all your experience and knowledge and be able to transform these users' experience when conducting all these processes. All right, let's now give the floor to Alejandra, and we invite you to go to our website, movilidadbogota.gov.co, and in there you will find a banner. If you click there, you will be able to know all the information about this initiative made by the District Secretary for Mobility. We recommend you to also send your questions to the email ruedadenegocios at movilidadbogota.gov.co. So we want to introduce you to Alejandra Moreno, who is the Deputy Secretary of Citizen Services and the person leading this process in the District Secretary for Mobility. She will tell us more details about this concession. Andres, thank you. And Nicolas, as you have said, and as we said at the beginning of this transmission, which is the good news of the modernization of these processes and services and the way how we provide these mobility services will change drastically. We will transform and we will make a digital transformation, as you will see in the presentation that we will start right now, the transformation and the technological leap that the district mobility for secretary for mobility in Bogota to provide all these services and to renew these citizen experiences is to provide a better service that is more legitimate for the implementation of their rights and responsibilities in an effective way so that they have the institutional support and the possibility of having a better quality of life and a better experience with mobility in everything regards to traffic and transportation in the city in Bogota so that it is more efficient and more effective. We have been for a year, as you said, conducting this well behaved and structured process from phase zero, as we call it, building all the structuring process and all the components required for this tender process. The concession is being structured by three components: the financial, the legal, the technical, and operational that we have combined in just one. And this is led by the National University, the new structuring. And so we want this concession to provide a technological leap and a modernization of the entity. In the presentation that you're seeing right now, we have, of course, this note where we are inviting you we invite you to read it so that you see that this is a virtual business route. It is a transparent space, a participative space where we will present the model of the one-stop shop for our services that will materialize the new concession of mobility processes and services with the legal and financial and administrative terms that we just explained. We will have a program for the tender as required by law, and this will be posted in our contracting state contracting platform, which is the SECOP. The presentation that you will see today has three parts. The first part, we will see the backgrounds of the current concession of the Consortium of Integral Services for Mobility SIM. Then we will see the new part of the concession for processes and services, and finally we will see or have a session for Q&A. As Andres said initially, we will dedicate some of our time to the Q&A session. So I want to start off with this section about the scope of the current concession. The current concession has existed for 10 years. It started in 2007, March the 1st, 2008, sorry. It was through concession contract 071 of 2007. It ends on February the 28th next year, 2022. It has been operating the three registries required by the law: the District Automotive Registry, the District Drivers Registry, and the Operation Cards Registry. So that is the concession, the Consortium of Integral Services for Mobility, SIM. The current model of the concession has been structured or outlined in this slide, we have nowadays users that are served through three channels: the face to face channel, the virtual channel, and the telephone channel. We have face to face service. The concession has moved forward in the virtualization of the request of the enabling certificate, and because of the pandemic they move forward with the scheduling of appointments through the website of the concessionaire. We have two integral points of the provision of fixed services distributed throughout the district: 19 points of satellite services and one intelligent mobile point, which at some points, specifically or especially when we were able to be at fairs, we moved those mobile services to benefit the communities at a district level. The telephone service that is provided by the concession nowadays is through the call center, and it is mainly informative. In the face to face channel, well, this is mainly informative and guidance as well through the phone to the citizens. This is the basic model of the service that we have nowadays with the concept of users. This is very important, and we have been evolving little by little in this topic. What are the most required services of those 53 that we could have nowadays, and the 27 that are provided by the concessionaire? Well, the most required are, for instance, the trespassing of property, the certificate of enabling the issuance of the license, the renewal of the license, the issuance of the number plate, the issuance of the operations cards, and the duplicate of the driver's license. These 10 processes are the top 10 which take more time for the concession and has the most demand by the citizens. We have a monthly service of around 122,000 processes, of which 80,000 are of the district automotive registry and 36,000 to the district driver's registry and around 6,000 to the operation cards registry. So why are they concentrated and condensed in the district automotive registry? Because these has linked 18 of the main processes in regards to traffic, like the trespassing of the property, the trespassing of an indeterminate person, the number plate, the change of service, which is also requested, the certificate of enabling, which is the virtual process made by the concessionaire right now, the duplicate of the number plate, the duplicate of the driver's license, the registration, as you know, and the modification of the lease, the canceling of the number plate, the change of the characteristics of the vehicle, as you can see in the slide. In regards to the district driver's registry, we have 4 or 5 processes that you can see right now, and the operations cards registry, well, the canceling of the operations card and information that is provided in this topic, as well as the issuance of this operation card and the enabling of the companies. These 27 processes that we saw right now have strengthened clearly the city and the provision of this service to the citizens, not only from Bogota, but also residents and other requesters of these services. The main achievements of this concession have been condensed in 4 points. It strengthened the face to face channel. The points of service were increased compared to the first concession that Bogota had, which were the special transit and transportation services, which was the SEP, and it had 6 percentile points. Right now, Bogota has 31 percentile points, as you saw at the beginning of our presentation on our first slide, giving more capacity of service to the concession and obviously benefiting the citizens that approach to it when they need some of its services or any request of a service or transit process in Bogota. It also released the congested initial points created with the concession of the SEP. We extended our coverage, and of course, it improved the physical infrastructure at the different points according to the regulation issued by the national government and followed by the district policies of citizen services. The organization of the documental registry has also been a great progress, and also the provision of trans processes and services and the virtual scheduling, which was a great step that we took last year in order to face the pandemic last year and the situation that we are facing nowadays in our city, but also worldwide with COVID-19. These have been the main achievements, and today in our journey, Nicolas, you have been able to see this firsthand, and we've also been able to get all the input from the citizens, which have stated that the virtualization and the unification of these transit processes are important in Bogota in order to have just one concessionaire for all these processes regarding the transit and transportation, and also what you said about saving time in all these processes, and also that we would have 60% less people at our points of service. Definitely, our proposal and our new concession for processes and services that we have called the one stop shop will allow us to do this. Right now, we will see and we will show you a video where they tell us about these progresses of the VUS, the VUS, so that you can see the service model that we are introducing for Bogota today. The new concession for processes and service of the district secretary for mobility will transform the service model for the citizens with processes that are 100% virtualized. From your mobile device or computer, you will be able to access the processes for processes and services of mobility where you could trespass a vehicle, make the payment, or of any service or a fine, and know about the car restriction or even remove your car from the parking spaces, etc. All these services provided by the district secretary for mobility will be in this one-stop shop so that you can access it from anywhere you want. With these new services, the office will provide its services face to face, by phone, or virtually so that you can have an easy experience which is timely and appropriate. We will transform the service channels to the citizens so that the experience with the new mobility office of Bogota is agile, close, and wherever you need it. In the video, we saw the summary in big scale of what will be the new concession and the one-stop shop. What we just saw is an introduction to the materialization of the new service model for the citizens. It is a concession scheme that aims to have a 100% virtualization, as you said, Nicolas, of the portfolio of processes and services as of March 1st, 2022. This new service model is fundamental because it has an omni-channel strategy that will allow the citizens to access to this information about the services and processes of mobility with extremely important attributes in order to have a relevant and a great experience for the citizens. It will be effective, transparent, timely, appropriate, and it will have an innovation process of its technological infrastructure. It will be modern with high physical and technological standards that allow it to provide an excellent service experience to the citizens that want to make these mobility processes and services in the city of Bogota. The fundamental objectives are to optimize the resources that the state has for providing a better service to the citizens with the service channels that have been provided or made available to the citizens, to virtualize them, to simplify and standardize these processes and services through this one-stop shop. This diagram that you're seeing right now on screen allow us to visualize the change that the new concession will have, the new one-stop shop of the mobility services. This scheme starts clearly with the transformation of users to citizens with rights and responsibilities that are respected by the public entities of the state. We involved an important change, which are the road actors or users. They now become so by legitimizing them by the district secretary for mobility as such as road owners with rights and responsibilities along the way, and they are transformed into active citizens of city processes in terms of mobility. This scheme, well, as I said before, we're changing them from users to citizens, and the effort is to ensure an effective and appropriate and modern service by generating a focus point, which is the core, the citizen, in all the terms of innovation of the public value. Here, it is important to know that we have this model based on the principles of public value that are stated by the national government and the district government in terms of effectiveness, humanity, and transparency. We base this model in fundamental principles that allow us to have clearly an efficient service through the one-stop shop that allows us to have technological modernity, taking or having this omni-channel portfolio for the citizens with qualified vendors that allow us to provide an efficient service and with a unique offer of mobility services. When we talk about mobility services that are unified, we are talking about the 27 processes and services that nowadays the current concessionary is providing, and we're going to add the 26 processes and service that the district secretary for mobility provides independently in the offices of the center in our street 13. With this, we believe that we have an offer of 53 processes that will allow us to have an administrative process, a legal process, and a financial process that is rationalized and totally virtualized. 100% of these processes in our one-stop shop will be provided virtually, and this service model will have also face-to-face consultancy and guidance if people decide to come to our offices. We will also provide these services. Nowadays, with the pandemic and with COVID, citizens have requested all the time that if we can virtually provide these processes and services that they need and that we have or provide in Calle 13 or Street 13 or outsource through the current concession. This is one of the goals that we have set and one of the commitments with the district development plan to provide the citizens this opportunity of conducting their processes virtually. The experience of the interaction with the citizens is materialized through these actions that are guided in the three channels, the face-to-face, virtual, and the telephone channel. And we added to this one channel, which would be the itinerant channel. This channel will allow us to get to the points or blocks of more importance in Bogota so that we can provide face-to-face services to the citizens that require this and that they cannot access internet for any reason or go face-to-face to our offices or points of services. We hope that while we have the concession, we can comply several of our goals. And also the pillars of this model to have a great architecture and model that allows the citizens to interact easily and so that they have no problems in the websites whenever they are making any processes or requesting any services, as well as a AAA accessibility as required by the laws today. What does this AAA accessibility mean? That everybody with reduced mobility can easily access our services through the website, not only face-to-face, but if they wanted to do so, they would also be able to do so, but not only face-to-face channel, but also through the web. People that have reduced vision or with auditive problems or hearing problems that require our services, well, we would be able to provide our services and to be in the forefront of this request. We will also comply with some requirements like the integrated model for management, which is a public policy and is required for all of those who represent the state and that can be linked efficiently and represent the state before the citizens with these processes, like the implementation of the district and public law for the citizens, and with this great bet that we're making with the concession, which is the rationalization of the legal, financial, and administrative, and the virtualization of all the services and processes. All of this is based on what I call the platform through which we manage all these services. The citizens demand, need, and want public entities to talk clearly in such a way that they can understand us. The entities, such as the District Secretary for Mobility, sometimes in its processes, it's very technical in its communications, and this leap to virtuality and all these processes, perhaps how you will see in the end of self-management in many of the processes, have allowed us to move forward in this uh, platform with a clear language. What will this new model of services and the concession have? Well, in addition to the 27 processes that I previously talked about, which are provided nowadays face to face, they will be virtualized. Well, the 18 process of the district automotive registry, the 5 of the district driver's registry, and the 4 processes of the operations card registry. Well, we will have also the 26 processes that are provided by the mobility office today, which are, or well, we will provide easy payment or payment agreements that are made by the citizens in our offices of Calle 13 and Palacomeo, the pedagogical courses that we have talked about so much. We are waiting for the Transportation Ministry to give us the approval in order to provide these educational courses virtually. We have gone to the secretary, and well, under your indications, what we would be able to provide, or how would we be able to provide this service to the citizens, because it's been one of the most constant requests by the citizens that they can virtually attend these educational courses and access the discounts that they have by law. Also, the payment of the fines, the delivery of driver's licenses that have been suspended, the request of disembargo due to fines and traffic sanctions, the delivery of immobilized vehicles, which is known like the exit of parking spaces. And nowadays, we've moved forward with phase one of this proposal of mobility for the citizens, the update of information of infractions and pedagogical courses, the update of information about the sanctions, I mean the information about the payment agreements of the sanctions, which involves different parts, the request of reimbursement of payment, the remission or referral to the educational courses for DUI, the delivery of copies of accidents, the authentication of processes, the report of traffic lights, well, if they have any failures along the way, or the requests of implementation of new traffic lights, and the requests of traffic signs that should be placed throughout the whole city, which perhaps are not installed yet, and also the exceptions of car restrictions that today the district capital has, and the administrative vinculation of vehicles, the permits for heavy trucks, the permit for school buses, the information about the physical disintegration of the public service vehicles, the revision and approval of the traffic studies, the management plan for traffic, the signage concepts, and the signage implemented, that bicycle service points that have been implemented, and it's been one of the platforms that we've moved forward with, the requirements for stamps for quality of bicycle parkings, and the online inquiry of traffic and transportation. With all these processes, we would complete 53 processes and services, which are the portfolio of services that Bogota has for the users, which will be uh, citizens and road users integrated in the service model. So, what is necessary for complying with this portfolio? We need to comply with four steps: the authentication, the requirements, three, the processes for the specific processes, and for the delivery for the citizens. What does this mean? The authentication of this means the self management of the identity. When the citizen enters the one stop shop for our services, they must have or place their data and authenticate themselves and follow a series of steps that will be explained specifically within the terms that will be soon posted. And they will need the required access in order for them to have like a CV within that one stop shop, and so that they can carry out any of these 56 possible processes and services that we have in our platform. The requirements are the compliance of the rules and policies that we need to follow in order to automatize this information and to integrate these databases. And this is important because we will integrate all the databases to which we get access as a state, to avoid the citizens to have to attach things such as their ID card or insurance. This is part of the rationalization. So the idea is to integrate the different processes that should not be requested separately, so that we can directly consult them online, because these are the official databases that we have today. The process as well. This means that with the use of technology, we can innovate, like the use of the electronic signature. And with this, we will have the ability to provide the citizens with an electronic signature so that they can conduct all their processes and services needed. We will show a prototype and invite all of those who are connected, so that you can see this online and see how we will be doing this electronic signature, the virtualization, and the use of indicators that allow us to measure our progress. And finally, the delivery of the document, even accessing different payment methods and payment platforms that exist in the market today with a digital format, and complying with all the regulation of the Ministry of IT. So these goals take us to this, to have 100% of our processes virtualized, as Nicolas said at the beginning, to have 50% less time invested for conducting or carrying out these processes, 60% less people physically in our points of service, not only of mobility but also of the concessionaire, which will be effective as of March 1st, and 50% more accessibility. Why do we say 50% more? Because nowadays, well, Bogota is making a great bet on having accessibility to those people with reduced mobility. And in our points of service, we will move forward with this process with the new concession by having internal and external integrated systems, as we explained a while ago, with these databases, in order to achieve 100% of the compliance of the digital government. We have set a goal. Well, the initial transformation should, or the beginning of this transformation should be as of March 1st. With this one-stop shop, Bogota will be able to comply with 100% of its digital governance by complying with the development plan in its point number 5 as well. This digital transformation consists in what and how will we make it a reality? Well, first of all, by having the citizens as the core of this digital transformation, of this technological transformation. We are moving forward by promoting one of its one of its great goals is to promote data analysis to improve the provision of the service, to innovate by applying disruptive technologies that facilitate agility and the interaction with the citizens, with safe mechanisms that allow to have controls and payment plans, and as well its personal data protected, that it is timely and flexible, that it allows to optimize, strengthen, and update the mission processes, that it has a digital mentality that will allow it to increase the capacities and evolve in the application of processes and services. Very shortly, this will be with a specific deadline in the terms that we will pose. The new concession will need to be updated technological as well of on its provision of services with a specific term or time that will be specified in our posts and maintain the interoperability with all the tools that the district capital might have, but also at a national level so that it can have access to its data and provide the services adequately. This will be made a reality, and you will see that this will be possible. We want to show this to the people who have joined us in this transmission, how it will be possible and how we will achieve all this. We invite you to download this QR code and so that you could do this online with me. A demonstration. We have picked one of the processes, which is the trespassing of property, so that you can see what we are referring to and what we want to achieve. We're going to give you a minute so that you can download our QR code. Here you see, and you will see a window or a screen. You will have a user and a password. There, you will start your journey. This is a requirement to access. Let's see if it works. It takes some time to start up. You have a username and a password. You log in with that username and password, and you will see the vehicles you have under your name. We have picked any name and last name Andres Pereira is what we've picked. He has two vehicles and one motorcycle. We're gonna pick the Mazda Coupe and we're gonna make a trespassing. We place the buyer's name and we place on continue. Click on continue. We verify that the data is okay, and this is a very important part because here we see the interconnection and accessibility with the databases. The system says that everything is right and it allows us to continue. We verify that the data of the buyer are correct. It gives us a number of this trespassing with a QR code, and it allows us to move or go ahead to the payment platform. It will just ask us to do that. Here we enter our password in order to be able to pay. We have previously authenticated, and this is one of the first part of the cycles. We get ourselves authenticated, and we then go to pay for this trespassing. Here we are connected with all the digital mechanisms for payments. We are going to pick any platform today, and it says that the cost of this process is 700,000 pesos approximately. We click on continue, we pay, and then it gives us the property registry or property card that could be issued online. This is what we wanted to be when providing these types of services. As we develop our one-stop shop, here it shows us the example. We go back, and now the Mazda Coupe is not under his name. That was the vehicle that we picked for this example. So Andres Pereira, this citizen, now has only two vehicles under his name, one car and one motorcycle. Here we see that the service model is applicable, that besides efficient, it is feasible and applicable, Secretary. This is fundamental because we want everything that we are proposing and everything that we are presenting to Bogota today becomes a reality and becomes the actual way of providing a better service, and that all of this is technologically applicable. This was our proposal for this service model that we are presenting today, Nicolas, and that we are presenting to the during this first a virtual business meeting for this process. Perhaps we'll have two business rounds during the contractual phase so that we can inform all the citizens and the companies that are interested in participating in this tender about the terms, the legal and financial terms for this process. Andres, I think this has been the explanation that we had for you today, and so now the floor is yours. Yes, Alejandra, and we also want to say that right now we have 511 people connected in our transmission in Spanish. In English, we have 89 people connected at this moment, and this transmission will be posted in the website of the District Secretary for Mobility, where you will be able to access and know all the details of this concession for mobility processes and services. We have different allies and organizations that have supported us, and that's why today we have a very special guest. We have Gonzalo Vargas, who is the management manager of foreign investment of ProColombia, who is supporting us in order to inform this process conducted by the district secretary for mobility. So, Gonzalo, hello to you, and please tell us what is the support that ProColombia is giving to this initiative of the district secretary for mobility. Good afternoon to all of you, to the entrepreneurs, local and foreign, that are with us today. Andres, thanks for introducing me, and thanks to the district secretary for mobility who has extended this invitation to ProColombia to become part or partners and co-workers in the attraction of new companies so that they can participate in this process. And as you said, what does ProColombia do? ProColombia is the entity of the national government in charge of the promotion of three very important pillars: the promotion of exports that are non-traditional, the exports, sorry, the attraction of foreign tourists, and in my specific case, the attraction of foreign investment. And precisely that's what we want to do with this. And that's why we want to support all these companies that might be interested in participating in this process, to work with them hand in hand and with the municipality, as well as with Invest in Bogota, who has been a historical ally in the development and promotion of these types of activities, and to all look for one main and common objective that you've pointed out throughout your presentation: to be able to have players and stakeholders and technological leaps in this development that allows better communication with the citizens, and specifically with a robust infrastructure that sets us as leaders in these communications with the citizens. So, as the national government, we are very interested and we want to support you in the developing of these collaborative activities with the municipality of Bogota and with Invest in Bogota, so that we can have as many offers, both local and foreign, and so that this process for the city and citizens represents a win-win situation in this communication through these mobility services in the city. All right, Gonzalo, so thank you very much, and thanks to ProColombia. We have the support of other organizations, and one of them is Invest in Bogota, who is focused in the investments made in our city. That's why we have today Monica Sanchez, who is the manager for promotion and investment. She is right now providing her institutional support to this initiative of the District Secretary for Mobility. Monica, good afternoon, and please tell us what is this support that this important institution in the city is providing to us. Thank you and good afternoon to all of you. Thanks to the District Secretary for Mobility for the invitation to participate in this space. Warm greetings to the Secretary Nicolas Estupiñan and the Deputy Secretary Alejandra Moreno, and congratulations for this great initiative that without a doubt will make more efficient all these processes and services and will benefit all the users. Invest in Bogota, well, for those of you who do not know about us, is the city agency in charge of bringing foreign investment to Bogota. We support all the foreign companies in all the stages of their investment processes, since before the decision of investment, the installation process, and through their reinvestment processes whenever they have been established in the city. To date, we have supported, I'll tell this briefly, more than 410 investment projects that has represented more than 50,000 direct employments and an investment more than or close to the $3 million. In the area of infrastructure, we have a dedicated team to supporting the companies of the district in all their tender processes. What we do is to go out and look for foreign companies that are able to participate in these processes. We invite them to participate, we support them, we make one-to-one meetings with the contracting agency. In this case, it will be the district secretary for mobility. We provide all the information needed about the tender so that they can make the decision to participate. And with the district secretary for mobility, we have worked in other topics, in very important topics for the city, such as the public bicycles, traffic management, spaces for citizens, and what we have made to support and to identify cases of success in the city is that, well, we have implemented different policies in the city or different projects that have been implemented in other cities with success. And with this strategy of the new service model for processes and services, Secretary Nicholas, you can count with all our support, and also the foreign companies that are listening to us. You can count with all our support. We will be able to provide all the information that is necessary during the project. We could also arrange one or face-to-face meetings with the secretary so that you can get first-hand information. You will be receiving permanent news or updates about the tender process, and well, you can count on us for all this process. Perfect, Monica. Thank you, and thanks to Invest in Bogota for supporting this initiative of a district secretary for mobility and for helping us so that foreign companies can know about this process and become part of it. Throughout this transmission, we have enabled a module for the audience to ask questions. So it's the moment, secretary and deputy secretary, to answer some of the questions that we have received. Those that we are not able to answer, we can answer them via email. Andres, I think it's important to tell those who are connected to us and the citizens that can replay this transmission that we will have in our website www.mobilidadbogota.gov.co, a specific website for all this topic that will be called One Stop Shop for our services, the new concession of mobility processes and services for Bogota. There you will be able to find all the documentation, the history, this transmission, the videos, I mean, all the information in a very transparent, public, and participative manner so that the citizens can view this at any time and from anywhere. It is important to clarify that this microsite in our website will be fed on a daily basis by the documents and the actions that we make within this process. All the steps will be recorded there. Yes, www.movilidadbogota.gov.co. In the top part, there's a banner where you will see a concession of mobility processes and services. By clicking there, you will be able to find all the information we have provided today and also additional information on all the updates that we might have throughout the processes. So now we will have our Q&A session. Let's see if we can answer some of our questions before 5 p.m. Question number one, the new service model. How many processes and services will it operate, and what will happen with the current concessionaire, SIM? Well, there are two parts. First, one of the great changes, it seems small, but it's very important, is that we have a new service model for citizens where we improve the services processes. It's important to clarify this, and it will have, well, this new service model will have 53 processes and services integrated within this new one-stop shop, the mobility office. as it receives requests by the citizens and as the scenario for traffic and transportation demands. So we will integrate more services for citizens. The new concessionaire will end its operation on February 28, 2022. It has been a 10-year concession that was awarded in 2007 and started operations on March 1st, 2008. It completes its term now and ends on February 28th, 2022. Yes, we have one additional question. How do you plan to strengthen the face-to-face services? It will be strengthened through a different way of consultancy. We want to virtualize 100% of the processes and services, and this service model will be also provided face to face, but we will transfer this way of doing all this process and services with also a face to face consultancy. We will have consultants for traffic and transportation that will guide the people for free with no intermediaries in our points of service that the new concessionaire will have, and also through the one-stop shop through March 1st or as of March 1st, 2022. Two more questions. The citizens will have to go more than once to the points of service? Well, answering yes or no would be a commitment that the district secretary for mobility will not be able to assume. That depends on the service or process you need. Our objective is that by having 100% of the processes virtualized, you don't even have to go once to the office or twice. And by law, we should provide these channels of service to the citizens. And with the points of service that we provide at a district level, we will provide our services in an efficient and effective manner and in a timely manner so that you can have an experience that is totally satisfactory with all the mobility processes and services. One last part, what that well you just answered, but the processes will have now less steps with this new model. Yes, as clear and direct. Yes, because what we're doing is a financial, administrative, and legal rationalization with all the processes involved in the new concession in this one-stop shop. Obviously, whatever is allowed to rationalize by law. Every step or each part that makes up a process or a service what we're working for a year ago as we explained and as we told Nicholas in this new restructuring and in this new service model that we are offering to the city of Bogota today. Well, perfect, Alejandra. So, Secretary, one last message. Yes, what I wanted to say is that the answers that we're providing today are just partial answers. What we want is you to help us respond these questions. What we're doing is structuring a process with some goals, and we'll definitely have some restructuring. But what we want is that with your knowledge, with your experience, you can help us to provide a better and more robust answer to the citizens. So how will we have more support in the face-to-face processes? Well, we will have a series of requirements and conditions, but we hope you to provide us with more specific answers to these questions. Yes, this is a process, and this is why we had or took the initiative to conduct these business rounds so that it is a participative process with the citizens. Because this year of structuring, we have fed by all of these requests of the citizens of why to make this 100% virtualized channel, why not having the face-to-face channel as a reference, and why taking the virtual channel as the reference, because it has been a request made by the citizens. And well, you have seen this with the different meetings with the mayors and in the different points of service of the concession. We always get this request of the citizens. We've even had legal requests where they ask us that these processes and services are made virtually, specifically during the pandemic, during these times that it's most needed. And now we see ourselves even legally limited. That's what we want to do, to eliminate all these setbacks and make the necessary agreements to modify them in order to move forward with this process. All right, perfect. So that's the invitation for all of the interested. The invitation by the district secretary for mobility. There is a great challenge to modernize all these processes and service in the mobility office, and we're waiting for all your offers and proposals in order to solve these challenges. And thanks to all the controllers, people, staff from the controller's office and general attorney's office who have been with us during our transmission, and will follow up on all these processes and send us your recommendations and comments. And please remember that all this information will be posted in the website www.movilidad.gov.co through a banner that you will find in the top part. There you will find all the videos and information about this concession for processes and service. And this transmission will also be posted in this mini portal in its English version so that the companies that are foreign can participate and listen to it. And through the email that I said a while ago, Rueda de Negocios at movilidadbogota.gov.co, we will be answering all your questions or doubts. So thanks to all of you that joined in this transmission and those who connect later. Thanks a lot.